Please welcome Dora Malech.
Love poem. If by truth you mean hand, then yes. I hold to be self-evident and hold you in the highest. KO to my OT and bait to my switch, I crown you one-trick pony to my one-horse town. W my one-stop shopping, my space heater, juke joint, tourist trap, my peep show, my meter reader, you best, batteries not included, bearing all or nothing. Let me begin by saying, if we holler, end with goes the weasel. In between, cream filling, get over it, meaning the moon. Tell me you'll dismember this night forever. You, my punch, drunken bag, tar to my feather. More than the sum of our private parts, we are some peekaboo, some peak and valley, some bright equation. If and, then but. If then My fruit bat, my gewgaw, you had me at no duh. I want to start, the story goes, but then the story stops. I want to say you borrowed Chekhov's gun, but it was just American, a dumb colt bucking in your hand. Neither of you old enough to know better, both ready to run. Speed is ignorant of direction, says the physics text. The part I love about the story that I hate is when it seems you still believe in what comes next, just not for you, is when, after you drink a beer and before you, as they say, do yourself in, meaning out of this world worth saving, you pause to place the can in the recycling bin. I'm going to read a few new poems. Before I do that, I wanted to read a selection from the last sequence instead. The previous poems, there's some erasures, which is when you take a text and kind of pull pieces out and make a new text out of it. And there are anagrams, many of which are couplets where one piece of a couplet turns into another, etc., etc. But this last sequence is one where each poem is a reworking of the whole poem before it in its entirety, so it uses all the letters all over again. And each of these 9 final poems is a reworking of Sylvia Plath's poem Metaphors, which is a 9-line poem. Each line is 9 syllables, and it becomes clear quite quickly that these are metaphors for pregnancy. Her poem begins, I'm a riddle in 9 syllables, an elephant, a ponderous house, a melon strolling on 2 tendrils. And it goes forward from there. And so I wrote the end of this book when I was also pregnant, and so I was working and reworking this poem of Plath's. So each of these is called After Plath Metaphors. And I won't read all 9 of them, but I'll read a selection. After Plath, Metaphors 1. Stealing a safe view, interstate still a smooth reed, nothing in mirrors, not need or glint, not even a least glimmer in the rims of a coupe so far. An on-ramp's best offer is belief. Yes, spell, an easy does it, and I bite. Finally sing ascent, an infinity. Big rig, add a deep rumble now, the true coo down the highway. After Plath, Metaphors 3. Call me Big Ag, I brag, tending the feedlot and warehouse, silo and hormones, pen, seed, rib. From newly iffy memory I recite whose maple syrup taps these are, and so on. Inning stint as dafter sieve, inning as moist ort, all in a different vein, I say, tiring, out of breath, panting as the balloon I tie taut swells. After Plath Metaphors 4. Aviary, apiary, one warm swarm and flutter, bubble tea, puff pastry, lit fuse, or I reel, dine a sea, greeting card sentiments, honey dripping into the moss-lined nest of a loon, wings riled in the offing. Motor revs, then idles. A magician's assistant, smiling to be sawed in half, saying, I'll be the one too. After Plath Metaphors 6. I've been a flag left planted on a distant planet, its sea singing in an empty shell, a file sighing stone to sand. See if I defy firmament. Petrie's eager agar, proverbial whore to culture, embrace what blooms in a windowless room, in a laboratory rinsed in sun's hot tints shining from the inside out. After Plath Metaphors 8. I'm a full load of delicates, spin de siècle. I wait my turn as if willing paint to dry. Yes, no, maybe, no, not even. As if pushing at aspen apron strings to resist a nesting doll's tight fit. In a drawer between bones free of name, see, a Sunday roast, high tide, barge, loom, harvest moon, entire fire ant hill in amber. After Plath Metaphors 9. I'm Loop the Loop, cat that swallowed the caboose, wild oat stuffed feed bag, my mailman's worst nightmare. Holes in a belt let out, dormant, nine-eyed serpent. I, darling hive, as is abyss, open infight, inner tubers, inner friar. Pain, again. Endless Tetris turning on my if. A siege-long season arrives. I ante. So that's how that book ends, and I'll just read a couple more new poems. It's called Nesting. You were right to suggest not nest, but nesting as a title, with emphasis on process, a final phoneme humming at its work. It's in the endless present of it. Some days I feel like I've never encountered a noun, proper or otherwise. To try to build a resting place is restless business, unfinished, always an errant twig, an open mouth, and then the stiff wind of a changing season. This is the present, as in the cliched gift that keeps on giving, though giving mostly sounds too gentle for these moments thrown. Think fast. It's playing catch with both hands bound behind your back. It's yours only as it whizzes through you, instantly regifted as purview and province of the past. Last night, homes were yanked away mid-air, or at borders ordered inside airports before or after flights, a soaring feeling falling, crashed. The father saying to his crying daughters, sit down, drink some water. In a pocket, an amulet meant for a future in Baltimore or Nashville, a hand held tight, sweat on metal, hand of Fatima, Miriam, Mary, apotropaic, from apo away and trepain to turn, though here the apotropeism's been perverted, not malicious spirits or the evil eye warded off, but fathers, mothers, neighbors, children, babies turned away from our country like so much bad luck. What we infer in fear, an averted eye indeed. Alternate genesis, no green branch, no land, and the dove hovering over the waters indefinitely, or returning to the ark to die at sea. Thank you again, all of you, for coming out tonight on a Monday night. I appreciate it. To the you of 10 years ago now, never fear. I know the difference between arteries and ardor, arbor and treed, my bower and a weak need, a harbor where one might moor tonight and a port worth the oar's effort to come ashore for, a bit part and the serpent's gravid apple. I won't flatter myself first or lasting, or presume to fast and faint a martyr, making mockery of sacrifice, fatten for some sweet slaughter. I must believe that I'm not on your mind. That said, your body has a few ideas so bright that we might meet some night and render a dark room light as the last day before the world ends. That doom that was supposed to dawn today, but by now, hours worn on and in, we know there's no such luxury as fine as that finality for now. For now, at least, I'll have to kiss apocalypse goodbye, resign myself to this more mundane pain, the solace of the solstice, year's earliest sunset, and its longest night. I try to catch that fade of color without a flash. Both tries prove terrible. The horizon smudges up against the sky's blur like a child's heavy-handed landscape and inept erasure. They'll have to do. The pictures that I have of you will never do you justice either. Neither a camera's snap nor some synaptic crackle long elapsed can come remotely close to holding you. How else would you have it? You need never fear. I need you, but I only need you where you are, there, never far, never near. And finally, flourish. Clematis, sweet pea, sweet alyssum, sweet asylum, adornments adamant, heaven sent to bed an arbor's ardor, trellises, yes, this reaching toward its own reward. Sweet re-aching might redeem what seems a frail unfurling to refuge instead. Re-fugue played in contrapuntal context shows some pragmatist's thanks, thriving not only as noun and verb but stem. Climbing aster and hydrangea, honeysuckle, wisteria, twine and tendril reaching skyward toward, as if to pick a warden's lock, as if jazz hands, spirit fingers, fireworks, our shared shards glitter on this floodlit stage left empty, and the river rising like ovation, out of whose rush and rake and raise and refuse grows again these petals, pleats, sequins, pirouettes, curtsies and cleag-eyed bowers, sure-fired lines run to sun's stunning statement, peace, peels on which an hour slips under the higher wire and over the big top we make of what's at stake. Tencel tendrils corkscrewing up to pour more sunlight. Celebrate the act we make of the temporary fact of us. Thank you.